Welcome back. We're back. Two fans, one Paul. Myself, David Quist, lovely co-host KB Kirk Brown. We're at hockey school, KB. Basketball's around the corner. I don't even care about basketball. And we got a night game around the corner where I'm doing the food for the tailgate. So we'll see how we feel the rest of the week. But we can talk about my game in a minute here. Throw it out to you. It's been a rainy day here. How's it out in Phoenix?
I think we have a cloud within like 800 miles of us. It's very beautiful. It's about like 85 out here. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's Michigan MSU week heading into this, so both teams are, have had their struggle this season, but it just feels like State really can't get out of their own way right now, even when they do play well. And yeah, I mean, there was a great weekend of football, a bunch of upsets. Friday night was not the night to play as a road or as a ranked team. Both of the teams went down. Miami gets upset. Carson Beck throws 5 picks. So
blames his tight end.
Yeah. Overall, it was a really, really fun weekend of football. Another good one, and we have our games to break down. Quist, we're going to open up with you. MSU, Indiana, they were able to cover. Kick a field goal down 28 points, whatever it was. I mean, certainly a choice. Give me your thoughts on the game, what we thought of. I didn't watch any of it because it was on Peacock only, and there was a bunch of other games on. So
yeah, I was actually out at some place in town for the wife, and I had to watch a lot of this on my phone, especially the first half, and then I just kind of knew. I saw just the stat line of what happened to start the second half, and I knew the game was kind of over. But shout out our offense. They're playing relatively well. I mean, Childs was 27 for 33 with 243 and a touchdown, and he ran for another 48. So I thought Childs looked well when I was watching. Still can't run the ball. O-line's not good. I know this Indiana team is really good. Don't get me wrong, but we were hanging around just like last year. Last year we went up 10-0. This year we went up 10-3, and then Indiana really shows how good they are. I think I wasn't watching towards the end, but I'm assuming they kept on going up for it on fourth down, or they wanted to score because people kept on saying like "fuck Cignetti," all that stuff. But that's just how he rolls. Defense is terrible. Can't tackle. Secondary's mid. Can't get a rush. So when you can't get a rush, and your secondary is already not great, they're just going to dice you up. And Mendoza did 24 for 28, 332 and 4 tuts. And he ran for 18. They ran the ball okay, 28 for 132 and a touchdown. But Omar Cooper and Surratt and E.J. Williams all had a touchdown. Surratt had 2. And, yeah, they just diced us through the air, KB. We're not that good. The kick at the end is very on brand for Smith, I guess. It was a cover. I don't know how we feel about that or not. But the defense is a problem. Tackling's gotten worse since week 1. I've said that every week. I feel like, the offense, if you want to make money, not betting advice, but, just bet on Nick Marsh touchdown because he will get one for you every day. And just kind of, I don't know. I'm kind of checked out, unfortunately. I don't know what else to say. I'm always optimistic. I kind of go through a cycle, KB. I was thinking about this today. I'm get optimistic. I have 8-4, 7-5, and then we kind of reality checks in 4 or 5 games into the year. We're not that good. Things aren't changing. I don't know. Firing Smith is the right thing to do. Whatever that happens, and then I don't want to say I get fully checked out because I'm gonna watch the game. I'm gonna wear all my colors on Saturday. I'm gonna go tailgate most games. We'll see towards the end here. But yeah, it's kind of curious to see how the guys come out next week. Our defense has no answers, and obviously the Michigan State game is always weird and close, and it's at home. We haven't beat you guys in a few years, but yeah, Indiana's really good. They diced us up, and we'll see what happens. Billy Napier for Florida got fired, and we'll see if anybody else comes through today. I don't think Smith will get fired, but it's a topic amongst the MSU community.
Yeah, definitely at the boards. I mean, just looking at that schedule, they have Michigan, Minnesota, Penn State, Iowa, Maryland to finish the season. Do they get to bowl eligibility? They need 3 wins.
Minnesota,
and that was a barometer on a failure of a season.
Yeah, I would agree. I was thinking of Minnesota just ran. I mean, they did really well against Nebraska. Maybe Maryland because, the team seems to kind of sputter towards the end. But I don't know. Maryland and Penn State, I don't know anymore about Penn State. They lost again at Iowa. And then, I don't know if we get a weird bounce, but we're 0-4 in the Big Ten, so not good. If you can find a way to win one game, maybe some confidence changes, but I don't know. I see 4-8, 5-7. If it's 3-9, I would guarantee Smith's gone. That's 9 straight losses to end the season. But we'll see, KB. I don't have a lot of faith right now, especially in the defense.
Yeah, I mean, and all it takes is one game, right? One night you can fluster Underwood, a Michigan kid who stayed home, right? Next week, every week you have an opportunity to win one. So, I mean, we've seen how odd and weird those games have played out over the course of the last 20 years. They still have kind of some of that magic, that D'Antonio blood magic curse that got the guys fired up and locked in. I mean, we'll see, but definitely a big opportunity here for MSU down the stretch that they need to win some games. And it's not the easiest schedule. Like you said, Penn State struggling. They started out 3-0 and have lost 4 straight as well. So kind of unique that both teams are in that position. Little did we know that Boston College is one of the worst college football teams in the country as well. So we talked about that. I was like, well, is just Boston College really bad, or is MSU just like really good? And I mean, unfortunately,
both teams are bad.
Both teams are horrible dog water. So
yeah, Peacock's got to go, KB. This was terrible. I was at Spectrum Lanes in Grand Rapids. It's got fucking huge TVs everywhere, and it's got every game on except for the home team because it's on fucking Peacock. It's just a problem. If people don't want to pay for it, if it's at like a bar or something and they don't want to pay for Peacock, I get that. It's just a bad look, and I bet you viewership was terrible. Maybe not because they have to go on there, but just an L. If I'm looking at massive TVs and I can see the Ole Miss game, the Arizona State game, and I can't watch my team, I'm pretty pissed.
100% fair, Quest. 100% fair. All right, do we want to move on? Or
yeah, nothing else to say. We'll see what happens, KB. It's hate week, but I don't have any expectations anymore for the season.
Gotcha. All right, we'll talk about Michigan. It was the noon game, and I thought Michigan played their best second half of football I've seen them play all year. In the fourth quarter, I believe they outgained Washington like 110 to -8 yards. Defense finally decided to stop blitzing every single play. Even when they did blitz, like those were the plays where Washington gained yards pretty easily. So you can kind of just run a lot of base stuff. They picked off Williams 3 times. They honestly should have had 4 or 5 picks. He threw up a lot of bad footballs in this game. Even one of his long completions was a player just misjudged it because he kind of just threw a lollipop down the middle of the field. Michigan was able to disrupt him. He didn't run, over everyone, kind of the same way that Rutgers was able to, not stop him. So I was really impressed. Drops still hurting this team, man. Fourth down and one, and Chip Lindsey calls a great play, but you can't have Samaj in there. He's just not consistent enough with his hands. He drops that one. There was a play earlier where we're on our 3rd and 4th string tight ends, by the way. Our number 1 and 2 are out. Evan Link, our starting left tackle, went out, most likely season-ending injury. And that we're on 3rd string left tackle, too, because Andrew Babalola, who's a 5-star freshman who was competing for the starting job, he went down with an ACL injury in the preseason. So that's basically your 3rd guy. So we'll see how this offensive line continues to, protect Bryce, because last week in this game, they only threw the ball 7 times in the second half. I think part of that is having such a young left tackle. In one of the pass plays, which Underwood escaped the pocket, he got absolutely bulldozed. So we'll see how that works out. But overall, just really impressed. They tackled in space well. Everything that I complained about a week ago, they fixed, addressed, and they looked like a better team. I thought that they could have been down 17 to Washington at the half or up 17 is kind of one of those things where neither team made the right play. Field goal kicking, another issue, 48-yarder shanked. It's not like it just missed it either, so I think I'm growing concerned about that. But overall, really impressed, and we got to shout out Jordan Marshall, too, because we were on our backup running back. Justice Haynes did not play in this game. He runs so hard. He doesn't have the breakaway speed or like one-cut ability, but, man, he runs through tackles really, really effectively. Happy game for him. And Underwood looked good. He looked under control. He had he did a freshman thing, and this will be the last thing I talk about in the game, but it was 2nd and 5. They had a good gain, and then he gets pressured, and instead of throwing the ball away, he took a 5-yard, 6-yard sack. And then the next play, he absolutely rips a ball to the tight end on like a vertical and then like a fake in, and then he went out, hit him perfectly in stride. It wasn't like he was wide open. That got him down there, and then he was able to convert on a touchdown pass. few plays after that. Thought Chip Lindsey called a great game, man. He's scheming some things up. Really, really impressed with him. And, the defense was also without our 2 starting safeties this week. I think that if I had one thing to complain about is we need to stop rotating so many guys on the defensive line. It's driving me bananas. Derek Moore needs to be getting 95% of the snaps. Like, unless there's like a 13-play drive, he needs to be on the field. He's absolutely wrecking havoc. He had 2 sacks in this game, and he was not on the field a ton. I think I get the reason why you want to rotate people is to keep people, fresh, but the guys that are coming in are not playing fundamentally sound football. And I think also the starters and the key guys can't really get into the rhythm, get into the vibe because they're coming off the field. So if I had one thing to complain about, it's that. But, Michigan jumps back in the top 25, and down the stretch here, very manageable games with Michigan State, Purdue, Northwestern, Maryland before Ohio State. So
what a stretch
that we talked about
I wish.
is and a bye. So it's a very capable. Not saying those teams are bad or easy wins, because if you play bad, anyone can win any. Yep, but just a huge opportunity here to really bounce back. But we'll see. They've been bad on the road so far this year. They haven't really looked their best in road games, and they got to go on the road 3 out of the next 4. So we'll see.
Yeah, defense KB I thought looked really good. I don't know if it's the same play you're talking about with Bryce, but he ran out of bounds. I don't know if that's the same play where he took a sack.
That's the play. He took the sack by running out of bounds 5 yards when he could have just thrown it away.
Yeah, I thought, Jordan Marshall, this was an old school kind of Big Ten game. The longest run was 17 yards. Yeah, that was by Bryce, by your quarterback. So definitely in between the tackles kind of game. Zach Marshall, I believe that's your second or third string tight end?
Third.
Yeah, he looked pretty good. He had 5 for 72 and a touchdown. And then Andrew Marsh, like you said, KB, he's been going. He's been popping off. He had another game with 5 catches. And, the defense stood tall. I mean, Boston had a nice couple of catches, but only 4 for 71. Coleman, they tried to run 16 carries for 50 yards, so your defense really stood tall. And Damon Williams threw back-to-back series, I'm pretty sure, with picks, and they were just really bad decisions. One was a nice play by the tight end.
What was a great play call,
by the linebacker. He just was where he was supposed to be and took a step, and I don't know if it was a pick 6, but he was right where he needed to be.
No, yeah.
And you guys were on the 20.
I think he returned it to the 17-yard line, and then the next play was a touchdown. So basically the equivalent of pick 6, right? You carry all that momentum. Yeah, that one was so cool because he lined up like he was going to blitz, and then he drops perfectly into his guy, finds his guy, right? Like that's the thing we talked about that they're struggling with. And like MSU struggles with it is like you can't just drop to areas. You have to drop to players. Yeah, because grass doesn't catch the ball. Players do, And he perfectly did it, and there's like that good saying of like, hey, when you do your assignment, like the ball finds you, like if you get put in great positions. And the other one was just a really bad throw. I think he expected his tight end to just sit, and he ended up leaking out to the right. And I mean, Ant Wright tweeted this out. It was really funny. 2 blue collar interceptions. There is what he tweeted out, which is really funny.
Right on, spot on. But yeah, shut your defense, KB. When I was really impressed by them, knowing what DeMond, Coleman, and Boston can do, and you guys shut them down for the most part. And the 3 picks could have been more, especially in the first half. There's a couple drops on your end. Just shut them down. Kudos to the defense. Great. I'm looking forward to that. I do think we can scheme some things up with our offense, but I don't trust our defense. But we'll break that down later in the week. Any more thoughts before we jump to the other games we chatted about this week?
It's just wins. It's so much easier to be positive and happy after a win. Winning does change everything. Sharon Moore had that blue collar jacket on. We talked about it, and like it led to a win, right? So it works. It was a right move. Mm-hmm. That's one of those things. All right, Quist. Next game, we want to talk about Ole Miss, Georgia?
Yes.
Is that what you have?
Georgia outlasts Ole Miss, kind of in a shootout, 43-35. I watched a lot of this game, and I watched back the highlights. This is just kind of a back-and-forth. Defenses were both kind of struggling. I think Ole Miss started like 4 for 4 or 5 for 5s on drives to score. Chambliss, again, looked pretty good, 19 for 36, 263 and a touchdown, ran for 42 and 2 more touchdowns. Like, what a story, KB. I know they didn't win this game, but you still got to root for this hometown kid who is doing very well in high-end college football. So just keep an eye out on Trinidad. Got to shout him out as much as we can. baller in high school basketball in Michigan as well. And then Gunnar Stockton had a good game too. He was locked in, 26 for 31, 289 for touchdowns. And then Georgia ran. I think the difference is they ran as a team really well. 49 carries, 221 and a touchdown. They're just bringing it to them. And the defenses are struggling. Tacklings were mediocre, and I thought KB and Georgia just outlasted them. And I think they missed two 2-point conversions towards the end of this game because 43 is a weird little score to have. I can't remember. But yeah, the second half, Ole Miss could not stop Georgia, and they just had enough. Ole Miss had their chances for sure. It just seems like that the defense on both sides was questionable, and Georgia is at home, has a slight advantage, but Ole Miss put up a great fight, and they were in the lead. They just didn't have enough, and it's just a solid game. I wouldn't even feel bad if I was Lane Kiffin. I still like him as a coach. I think Ole Miss is his place for a long time, KB, but just a classic SEC shootout, 43-35.
Right, yeah, I mean, someone was like, is this the Big 12? Yeah, the first punt in this game was in the fourth quarter.
That's insane.
Which is crazy. I don't think Georgia did not punt one time in this game, which is absolutely crazy. Like you said, they settled for field goals a little bit more than probably that they wanted to, but still they put up a good game. And I mean, when you have two offenses like this where the coordinators, I feel like, are calling such great games, we got to give it up to Lane Kiffin and then Mike Bobo. It just felt like the defenses were missing tackles and stuff, but it's like their players were always in great positions to beat the defense, And this is a game where back in the day when Kirby Smart, I feel like, first got to Georgia, they couldn't do this offensively quite yet. They couldn't get into one of these games where the other team is dominating their defense, because their defense is really good, so they never really had to. But this is a game where they could score points and outcompete them. It's like, okay, today's going to be that day where your offense is cruising, our offense needs to be cruising as well. Really disappointing effort from Ole Miss's defense. I mean, not getting one stop is crazy. But this is one of those games, man. You got to just shout out to the players. And like you said, Trinidad had a pretty good game, but Ole Miss not being able to run the ball is probably something that Georgia's happy about. Like, even though their defense didn't play great, Trinidad had 42 yards, but then Kawan Lacey had 12 carries for 31. They averaged 3.7 yards. They had 4 touchdowns, but it was all short. And then compared that to theirs, they ran for 221 on the ground, right? And that's maybe why the Georgia team was able to last in the fourth quarter when it's tired, because they can be consistent and run the ball, and they don't have to only rely on passing plays and the extension of that. So really impressive game. I mean, Georgia finds ways to beat everyone not, in an Alabama outfit. I don't know what's his deal. He's obviously a really good coach, but anytime he plays Alabama, man, it's like it's a completely different version of him. But really, really cool. And then, like you said, they have Florida, who has fired Billy Napier. Mississippi State, they play Texas. They have Charlotte and Georgia Tech to end the season, so definitely one loss on there. But they need to split between Texas and Georgia Tech to have an opportunity to be in the playoff.
Texas struggled against Kentucky, won in overtime, 16-13, and I think the end of the game, KB, or what this comes down to, is Georgia grinded down this Ole Miss defense, 37-39, so 37 minutes, 39 seconds of time of possession for Georgia compared to 22-21 for Ole Miss. So Georgia just had that ball, probably was leaning on that short run game and just getting first downs. And obviously when you can't get a stop, KB, that the teams that have the ball for about 40 minutes, so a third of the game, which is pretty crazy. I think you're going to get tired, and that's if tackling's already not good, maybe this tackling in general is not good anymore, KB, but because you just can't hit as much in practice. But then when you're tired and your legs are getting heavy and you're getting hit, just nicked and knacked, it's going to be even worse down towards the end, and that's probably how Georgia kept on, putting up points. I know a good amount of field goals for them, but 43 points is still pretty damn good. Any other thoughts before we jump to the next SEC game here?
And like you said, when you have 34 first downs, that's really, really impressive. That means you're staying on the field for long stretches, and that's really difficult for a defense. 510 yards of offense. So they had 34 first downs. They were 6 of 11. So the rest of them were all, outside of 7, because they had 1 fourth down conversion, were all on first and second down, which is being extremely efficient with the football. Really impressive offensive performance by Georgia.
For sure. All right, next SEC game, KB. Bama does it again, 37-20. They're dialed in. I don't know. Florida State looks like shit. They lost again. Did they lose to Stanford? I think.
Yes.
Yeah, Stanford's not good. Stanford's got some weird wins, though. They beat BC, too. Lost to Hawaii to start the year in Hawaii. Anyway, Bama does it again. Ty Simpson, nothing crazy. 19 for 29, 253. Joey had a good game too. The running game, the top runner for KB, or the top runner KB for Bama is 49 yards from Jeremy Bernard on 4 carries. They had a 32 as a team for 120. I mean, Tennessee only had 33 for 142. Neither team really ran the ball great, but they got the job done. Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, Horton had 1 catch. He kind of had a bad game, or not a bad game, but a quiet one. But yeah, Bama's defense steps up again. I just feel like the offense has just been Kellen DeBoer knows how to scheme things up, get these guys the ball. I mean, Bernard running the ball for 50 yards with 5 catches, so he got 9 touches, as he should. He's really damn good. And just they're locked in. That loss is not great, obviously, to start the year, KB, but whatever that change, that switch that had to happen, they're rolling and they're dialed in, as they say, roll tide roll, which I hate, but I like it that it's not Nick Saban. I like this quarterback. It's an Alabama team that I usually don't like, that I'm actually kind of rooting for, which is weird to say.
Yeah, I mean, this game flipped on its head. It was Alabama safeties Tennessee. Then they get the ball and drive 69 yards for a touchdown to go up 16-7. And Tennessee gets the ball back, drives all the way down to like the 2, and then a pick 6. Like 99 yards is what flipped this game and made it a blowout, and then Alabama just kind of put it in cruise control. I still think there's some concerns with this Alabama team not being able to run the football, because that's the consistency you need. But they were able to do more than enough. Their defense played well in this game, and they were able to pull out a win. Tennessee drops, a really, really tough game. But this game was closer than maybe the final score indicates, because they had such a weird, 3 moments right before the half went from a 7-7 game to 23-7, like instantaneously. And so that's kind of, the situation that they've been in. They've played in a lot of close games. They hung on against Mississippi State in overtime. They squeaked past Arkansas, who's played basically everyone close except for Notre Dame. So, I mean, really, really key opportunity here. And the season isn't over. There's still a bunch of, moments here, but Deshaun Bishop had 14 carries for 123, 2 touchdowns. But because it was a blowout, we still see these glaring issues on run defense for Bama too. But because of the blowout nature, Aguilar had to throw the ball 44 times. So maybe in a different game where you don't have that, Tennessee scores to make it a 14-17 or 14-16 game. It could have been a different second half, but Alabama's able to hold on. I mean, this is what you want, right? A marriage of defense and offense, where you can get in blowouts and some of your strengths or some of your weaknesses can be covered up, because if you're in a tight game and you're still getting gashed, then that's a different story.
Yeah, and Bama will be tested, KB, don't worry. At South Carolina, LSU, Oklahoma, Eastern Illinois, because that dumb schedule, which will change, thank God, and then at Auburn. So, I mean, they have 3 home games in a row after at South Carolina, who's been kind of struggling a little bit, but we'll know what they're made of. I know LSU just lost to Vandy. We love seeing Vandy winning. Shout out to Diego.
We love seeing LSU losing.
Diego
more so
and his
than
mom.
Even Vandy winning.
Yeah, I don't know why his mom's always next to him in interviews, but Diego's a dog. We love that. And yeah, Oklahoma's a tough team. And then Auburn is just like in a close game every week. I think they lost in overtime to, I'm blanking on who Auburn played this week, KB, but another close game.
Missouri, double overtime.
Mizzou, yeah. So the SEC is tough from top to bottom. I would love to say that about the Big Ten, but I don't think we see what happens when MSU plays Ohio State when we're down. We just get absolutely we get taken out back, and you never see us again. Any more thoughts on this Alabama or Tennessee teams or this game in general, KB?
No, we're good.
Love to hear it. Okay, to the holiest of wars. This was a little bit of a surprise, KB, in my opinion. BYU wins 24-21. I'll just read one team stat because I looked at it earlier. I think total yards, Utah outgained BYU by 100, but 2 turnovers. I think that's the game, KB. Would love to hear your thoughts.
12 penalties.
And 12 penalties. So the yards, obviously they outgained them by 100, 470 to 368. 12 penalties. 2 turnovers. Time of possession is the same, but I think the difference is the turnovers and the penalties. I would love to hear more thoughts, KB. This is an old school, kind of a defensive game. I felt like Utah was getting there, but the 2 turnovers and there's some really bad 4th down and maybe 3rd down play call. When I was watching back, it was 4th down where BYU stepped up and made plays, but I did not like the play calling as well.
Yeah, I mean, not only did they have the 2 picks, but they also turned the ball over on downs twice, both times in BYU territory, which are that was just in the first half. They also had 2 more in the second half. So, I mean, that's 6 turnovers or possessions where you could have scored points if one play goes differently. And, this game was close in the fourth quarter. It was 10-7 into the fourth quarter. And then it was just a barrage of scoring opportunities between them. They traded it. And then, like you said, BYU scores a touchdown to go up 17-14. Interception, quick touchdown after that, 24-14. And at that point, they couldn't really do anything in the game, even though this was close the entire time. I just felt like, Utah missed a bunch of opportunities. I felt like they moved the ball well. Similar to what happened in the Texas Tech game, and then they get into the red zone and
it'd just
be a plethora of errors, and they just wouldn't be able to win those plays, right? The important plays when the field shrinks, and that's kind of like what Dampier is, right? He's a non-power 5 guy. He's small. He uses his athleticism. Well, when the field shrinks and those windows get tighter, those are the parts of the field, right, where teams can invest more in the run, stopping the quarterback, and that's just one of those things where they've struggled with this year. I still think Utah's a pretty good team. They just need to. They just leave so many points on the board. I feel like this could have been a huge win for them. The red versus blue primary colors looks amazing. Really, really enjoyed that, but tough loss for Utah as they dropped their second game, 2 conference games, so they're
probably out of the
outside, or not conference. Well,
yep, 2-2.
Oh,
BYU's in the Big 12 now.
Yeah, BYU's in the Big 12 because they left Independence. So, I mean, that's the opportunity, right? Like, those are the things. Now you dropped 2. I mean, obviously Tech lost to Arizona State in an upset, but it's still the Big 12's wide open, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Just like last year, KB, I feel like we were talking about the Big 12. I think last year in the preview, we talked a lot about how this would be a wide open league, and it is again. I mean, I texted you last night that Cincinnati is undefeated in Big 12 play, along with BYU. Houston, I think, has only 1 loss. Like, there's a lot of teams you don't really think about. Don't forget UCF is in this league. They're not that good this year, but there's a lot of sneaky teams like Cincinnati that lost a close game to a really healthy Nebraska team in the start of the year. And then you got this BYU team that's rolling. I didn't think Bear Bachmeier looked like anything special. He made smart decisions for a young guy, which is what you kind of need. And both teams ran well, and that's kind of cool. And the primary color thing, KB, just chef's kiss. Love to see it. But we'll see what both teams are made of. I'm kind of curious to see who BYU has up next. BYU has at Iowa State, Texas Tech, TCU, Cincinnati, and UCF. So there's some, interesting games in there. And then Utah, after a little bit of struggling, has Colorado, Cincy, Baylor, Kansas State, Kansas. So Colorado doesn't have a terrible road here, KB, Cincinnati. But you never know if this Big 12. Baylor could get you. Kansas could get you. Their quarterback's been good the last couple of years. He just gets banged up. So Big 12 is a fun one to watch, KB. I don't have any more thoughts about this game. I kind of would want to jump around because we're pretty quick on time this time around. I just want to jump around the country a little bit. I mean, we've had some upsets. So a coach got fired today. Just want to see, get your overall thoughts of the weekend before we wrap up.
Yeah, I just want to quick highlight BYU, Cincinnati, like you said, are both undefeated. ASU is 3-1 in the conference. Texas Tech is 3-1, and Houston's 3-1. So that's who right now is competing for the Big 12 and possibility of getting into the playoff. But to move past that point, yeah, I mean Napier's gone. I think we all kind of saw that coming. What does this mean for Florida? Does Lagway leave? I know they had a bunch of really good freshman receivers in this last class that came in. Few defensive guys. Baugh is their running back. He's a true sophomore. So what does this mean for them? Because
their candidates, the top 5 candidates at ESPN are crazy, in my opinion. I don't think that'll happen.
Oh,
Lane Kiffin, Drinkowitz. Yeah, these are the top 5 at ESPN that ESPN's saying. They're saying Lane Kiffin, Drinkowitz from Missouri, SMU coach, Washington coach Jed Fish, and then Marcus Freeman. I don't know if these guys are smoking. I know Florida's got some money, but I don't think any of those guys leave.
I mean, Drinkowitz maybe, just because Missouri, but it's in the same thing. I mean, I could see SMU's coach leaving.
Yeah,
that would be a huge opportunity because you got to remember, SMU is in the ACC. They're traveling a lot, and they're not getting paid to be it because they were we need to be in a real conference and not get lost in the shuffle. So, I mean, that would be an opportunity, but yeah, none of those, that position isn't better than any of the jobs listed.
It's in a much worse. I mean, you might have some talent, but they're talent, right? But I mean, every guy you just coach is probably gonna have 8, 9, maybe 10 wins this season at the minimum.
Yeah, that's a very odd list for sure. Yeah, I mean it sucks for Napier, but like this is the year of we're done. We're done with letting coaches
Hang around.
not perform well. You know, I mean, I think it's crazy. Kind of his whole entire tenure here. I think he should have been fired last year if we're being serious. But I'm sure you didn't want to lose Lagway. I think I argued against it, but it's people are tired, man, and donors and boosters are putting more and more money into this, and they're not seeing results. I think that's really what it is, right? You got to think that back in the day, boosters were in control, but not in the way that they are now. Not with how much money they're giving to these programs to get players. Where like if a kid isn't performing, we're paying him. Like not only does he have a scholarship here, we're giving him money.
At least six figures too.
Yeah, and that frustrates a lot of people. So I'm not that surprised that they got rid of him. I mean, I think the problem with Napier is that the mistakes never changed, right? Like year 1 to year 2 to year 3, it just felt like when there were issues in a game, when the game plan didn't go exactly how he thought, that was kind of always the same thing. And so it's very frustrating too. Chris, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, is Napier a guy maybe MSU's looking at after they fire?
I don't know about that one. I mean, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of names thrown around, and Smith's still there. I wouldn't be surprised if Fickle got fired. I mean, they just got absolutely destroyed by Ohio State. And then I think someone in my group chat, shout out Matt Neal, Oregon had more yards yesterday in one game than I think Wisconsin's had all month, which is insane. I don't know if this would be – that's a weird one, KB. I don't know if – for me, it's got to be kind of more of a fit on top of a coach. Like Michigan State's, obviously a pretty good program, but you're going to want a blue-collar guy, kind of like D'Antonio. That's obviously bringing him up because, he brought us to the promised land. I don't know if Napier would be that fit. I would love maybe a Midwest guy. I really like the USF coach, but we'll see how things play out. I'm kind of curious who else will get fired in the next coming weeks. Like I think Fickle is definitely up there. I don't think you fire Smith now. If Michigan beats us, you don't want Michigan to be the team that knocks out your coach. So I don't see that coming, and I'm not sure.
You have a bye week 2 weeks after the Michigan game, right? You guys in our schedule,
I think it's the same as you guys.
Yeah, so I mean that would probably be the opportunity, right? If they lose that game, and then I think it's Minnesota. So if you lose against Minnesota, that would be like an opportunity. You have a bye week, you have a couple extra weeks, but I mean we'll see. We'll see. It's just interesting, but I mean people were calling for Sharon's job a week ago, right? And one win, everyone's happy again, right?
You're 5-2. He's fine.
Yeah,
I never thought he was the guy personally. That's just one of my things for you guys, but I don't know who else you would get or go for. Maybe, I don't know. But obviously a lot of upsets this weekend, KB, ASU, Sam Leavitt. People were saying that Sam Leavitt, a coaching candidate would be the ASU coach. I'm blanking on his name. I love he's great.
Kenny Dillingham.
It'd be a weird full circle moment if we somehow got Dillingham and Leavitt came back. I doubt that happens. But I did see some article where Dillingham was brought up. I love his fire, but I don't think that'll ever happen. But yeah, lots of upsets this week, and I'm kind of curious. I'm surprised Fickle's not fired, if I'm being honest already. But this is why we love college football, man. I mean, you never know. Miami goes down. The quarterback talks shit about the tight end running a wrong route. Minnesota, I don't think State can beat them. They look good. And then obviously a couple other upsets last night. And this is why we love the game. I do feel for how coaching is now. If you can't turn a team around and in 2 years, you're fucking gone. And that's crazy. But that's just unfortunately the way it is with NAL and the portal and maybe just how things are in 2025. But it's just unfortunate the way it is. And it just adds to the drama, which we love. It's entertainment. But you got to think about, like you said, it does affect people, and a lot of, like for Jonathan Smith, that whole staff moved from Oregon and the West Coast, and that's affecting families and kids. So just something to think about. As much as we love watching the game and being part of all those conversations, KB, it's there's a lot more, like you texted me, a big ripple effect after that happens.
Yeah, it's a big ripple effect, right? Because it's not just, the coach is leaving, a new coach will come, right? Transfer portal era, all this stuff. It can impact, a team can go from being 0 last year to, hey, Florida's kind of up for sale. Someone poaches all their players, or they bring in half their staff, and all right, it's a whole different looking team. I think the thing is too, Quist, when you look at college football now, like it is the year of the firing, right? And it's I think part of it too is we're no longer in the COVID era. You don't have the fifth year super max super senior that has been around for 10 years. So you're going to have more volatility. Teams are more closely ranked, more closely compacted. Talent is more spread out now than it really ever has, especially in the early 2000s when there was like 4 good teams. So I mean that's the world, right? That's the world we're living in. And so I think eventually this volatility will calm down a bit, but definitely right now it's firing season. Coaches need to be aware of that. I mean, I think we could see 5-6 more firings at major programs right through this year. We kind of forget, but like Gundy was gone this year. Was let go this year, right? That's how long ago and how many coaches have been fired. I also think to wrap up coaching, James Franklin doing that interview was weird as hell. And I don't know who convinced him, but that was kind of an odd thing because he brought up, he's like, yeah, we won a lot of big games. No, you didn't. That was the one thing you never
21.
did.
Yeah, not good. You went to some bowl games. You were in the semifinals, so I get that. But your overall record against top teams was not too great.
Yeah, I mean they beat SMU in Boise, right?
Yeah, like they're 1-10 against Ohio State, which is like when Michigan State was peak. That was like the one thing that I remember looking at was like we beat Ohio State more often than not in that stretch, and I guess in the Big Ten that's kind of like what you're reaching for because you know that they're the cream of the crop in the conference.
100%. But yeah, appreciate it everyone for listening. Give us ideas, anything that you want to do, you can take. And with all that being said, we appreciate you guys as well. Hopefully everyone's having a terrific weekend. I'm excited for the Michigan MSU game. I think Quist will probably stream NCAA 2016.
Oh yeah, we gotta have to do that.
Yep, we'll have to do that. So if anyone wants to jump in and chat and ask us questions, feel more than free. With all that being said, go Blue.
Yeah, and talking about coaching on the flip side of all that, you got Kirk Cignetti being a top 5 paid coach now, turning the losingest program around in 2 years. Absolutely insane. And the top 3 team, and we'll see how they go the rest of the year. I think they'll be top Big Ten team. I don't think they play Ohio State in the regular season. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, thanks as always, everybody. We'll be out there. I'm grinding on the socials, and I know KB is looking and being KB stats. It's hate week, KB. Fuck you. Bottom of my heart with the love. I'm obviously defeated most of this right now, but we'll see what happens. I always have faith in a little bit of a weird game against Michigan. We'll break it down. We'll stream the game, and looking forward to that later this week. So as always, even after a terrible loss, go green.